The real estate sector is riddled with a lot of challenges, and one of such challenges is access to mortgage for the Nigerian citizen. And Abbey Mortgage Bank is bridging this gap. And on this episode of the Nairametrics Executive Couch, we'll be having a conversation with the management team. So guys, enjoy. Thank you so much, sir. Welcome to the Nairametrics Executive Couch. Can we get to know you, sir?
Thank you so much. My name is Madu Haman. I'm the Managing Director CEO of Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So how is Abbey positioned now to mitigate the issue of additional recapitalization?
Currently, we have a rights issue in place.
Yeah.
We just closed on the 11th of February to raise additional 3 billion capital to position us for the growth that we expect.
Yeah.
But of course, regulators do review regulatory capital once in a while when they identify that there are risks that are within the marketplace that banks need to increase or show up their capital. For now, it still remains speculation, but there's a lot of talk about the need to increase bank capital base.
Yeah.
We, as an institution, are listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So that gives us the opportunity when we want to raise capital to now go to the capital market.
Yeah.
In that case, we have a very wide investor base to tap in from. Then looking inwards, we have serious core investors who are willing to put their money on the bank.
Yeah.
And like I said, the rights issue which we just concluded, I think it's a big success because most of the major investors have taken up their rights, and we are very sure that we're going to achieve whatever capital targets that the CBN might come up with in the near future.
Yeah.
But it might be necessary to look at capital to cushion the current risks that are involved in the market. Banks might experience losses as a result of the COVID situation because there might be higher default rates,
yeah,
and so on and so forth. So we are quite positioned to mitigate that risk.
Yeah. Okay, sir. So you mentioned the challenging issue of because of the COVID-19 and the economic crunch that we are facing.
Yeah.
So can you emphasize more on the challenges, especially for a mortgage bank and the real estate sector, then how Abbey Mortgage Bank, in terms of serving its customers, is creating solutions and driving opportunities that way for the bank?
Yeah. The issue with COVID is economy-wide.
Yeah.
There are some sectors that are particularly hard hit.
Yeah.
But eventually, that impact will come to the financial sector.
Yeah.
And since we are playing in that sector, we've had to review our processes, improve our operational environment by adopting to innovation in IT, recruiting properly trained staff to man critical departments like the credit risk management system. We've also improved in our loan monitoring. We've also beefed up areas of our sales force to improve customer engagement. We've also gone ahead. In a few weeks, we might be launching our e-channels, which will provide wider opportunities for our customers to operate without having to come into the banking hall. We've also improved our collaboration with real estate developers to be able to finance construction that would meet the requirements of our customers. So if a customer approaches us for a specific house type, we should be able to recommend the type of developer that will meet such requirement, and then we can fund such customer. And we've also had to be innovative in packaging products that would give the customer satisfaction, but at the same time protecting the bank in case of default. So these are the things we've put in place to make sure that the current harsh economic environment does not affect the bottom line of the bank in the long run.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a very, very interesting and very nice answer. And so back to Abbey Mortgage Bank. What is the culture of Abbey Mortgage Bank?
Yeah, Abbey is a company that has been in existence for almost 29 years. By March 11th, it will be 29 years in the market. So we've had a culture in the past, but we are currently reviewing our culture. And one of the things we are working on is to make Abbey one of the best places to work. We have identified our staff as core to growing our business. So we like to encourage staff to work in an environment that is conducive. We want to have better communication with our staff, not just top to bottom, but also bottom up. We want to encourage a reward system where if staff meet their targets, they are rewarded adequately. We also want to make the office friendly, so that when you have a friendly environment, you have innovations that are coming up. Yeah, created.
All right. What drives the organization?
What drives Abbey?
Yes.
Is our desire to provide housing for the average Nigerian. That is what drives us. We entered the mortgage sector because we want to be able to provide housing for the Nigerian. Housing is critical, I think, next to food and clothing, shelter. And the quality of shelter improves the quality of life of the average Nigerian. So that has been the driving force for the initial investors in Abbey, and we want to continue with that culture, that we should be able to add to the value and the quality of life of Nigerians by giving them decent shelter.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time out to have this quick chat with us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this time.
Thank you. So can we get to know you, sir?
Thank you for having me attend this session.
Yeah.
My name is Bolaji Adeomi. I'm the Executive Director of Finance and Admin for Abbey Mortgage Bank PLC.
We're going to be talking about the financials. And firstly, from a cash flow perspective, a significant amount of funds were raised in 2020. So can you kindly enlighten the audience on how that funds, all those additional funds will be deployed?
Okay, to provide a background to the liquidity generating activity that was carried out last year, it was a combination of fresh equity into the business and deposit liabilities from our customers. And as you are aware, VFD Group invested in Abbey last year, and from that exercise, 2.3 billion was invested as fresh equity into the business. When the new management assumed duty, we knew we needed to ramp up on deposit mobilization drive. The deposit liability at the point we are around May, June was 6 billion naira. By the end of the year, we closed the year at about 14 billion naira, which, when you look at it in terms of liquidity, that's probably additional upwards of 10 billion naira liquidity injection into the bank. On the planned utilization, or what has it been utilized for till date, when we came in, we realized that we needed to increase the revenue generating ability of the business. And where does that lie? Pretty much earning assets, which is creation of risk assets in form of mortgages and construction finance, and treasury related activities. So you've seen, without violating the liquidity ratios and other ratio requirements, regulatory requirements, we've channeled a significant chunk of these funds towards creating assets that would serve as a basis for income generation for the business. We also realized that in terms of platforms, a bit of investments needs to go into platforms, right? Yeah. And in these times, right, you can't overly emphasize the relevance of e-business. Yeah. So we've had investments. We've channeled funds towards just building the e-business platform. In the coming weeks, right, Abbey will for the first time be rolling out its internet banking and mobile banking platform into the market.
Yeah, that's very nice. So I think you already addressed the specific areas of investments in terms of innovative products, customer acquisition, and project financing. So for our audience as well, can you give us some background to the large credit loss expense adjustments in 2020?
Okay, we looked at the books and brought in external consultants, also used the hands you have in-house to look at what is actually the position of the book. And one thing that was very clear to everybody, the board and the management, is that you needed to clean up the books. Huge NPLs, and we also factored in what is the underlying asset actually backing up these loans. Yeah. And after that thorough review, we came to a realization that we actually needed to be aggressive on provisioning and just to clean up the book. So it was not a decision of, do we do it over 3 years, or do we just bite the bullets at once and just take the hit in the first year? And after due consultation with the board, with the regulators, with even other stakeholders, the decision was that we should just take the write-off once and for all. Yeah. And that provides a platform for the next phase of growth for the business.
What is the Abbey Mortgage Bank culture?
Okay, the culture we are trying to put in place is a performance-driven culture with a devotion to sustainable shareholder value growth into the coming years.
Okay. So what drives the organization? Maybe it kind of seems like a similar question, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you think drives Abbey Mortgage Bank and the organization.
I would be tempted to say shareholder value. Yeah. But when we think of Abbey and Abbey going into the future, for us it goes beyond shareholder value. We're looking at just the general stakeholder satisfaction. So in taking some of these decisions, you need to take a balanced view. You want to build an organization that will be in existence. Abbey has been in existence for close to 30 years. We want to build an organization that will be in existence for the next 30 to 100 years. And when you're trying to do some of these things, you look beyond just shareholder value. So I would say stakeholder satisfaction, your regulators, your customers, your staff, even the environment where we exist.
Thank you so much for having us. Welcome to the Executive Couch. Can we get to know you, Sam?
I'm Oladipo Adeye. I'm the ED in charge of treasury and construction finance for Abbey Mortgage.
Yeah, that's very nice. Now let's go to, in this low yield environment, what have what strategies have you taken to earn returns, especially with all that has happened in the markets, over the past 1 year?
Okay, so it's an interesting discussion. Each time I have to discuss the low yield environment. But for me, I think the direction of interest rate doesn't really matter if you know the game. Because for our business, the game is a yield play. It's a margin play rather. So as interest rate is nosediving, is affecting your cost of fund as well as your risk asset. So if you can maintain that margin with the volume that you have, irrespective of the direction of interest rate, you continue to make profit. But again, we also understand the interest rate market so well that at a point we knew that it seems like we have plateaued at that low level and we expect an increase, and we've seen that over the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We are beginning to move towards where the interest rate level should be. So it's interesting time. I think 2021 promises to be a fantastic year.
Thank you so much. So we're going to be talking about customer acquisition, then some parts of trading and yields for Abbey Mortgage Bank. So what is driving the increase in customer deposit inflow? Because generally before the end of the year you had a very high influx of liability. So what's driving that?
Okay, thank you for that question. I think subsequent to entry into the bank sometime in June, it was clear to us as a strategy towards moving Abbey from where it was to where we wanted to be, that customer acquisition and deposit liability mobilization was important. So we did a couple of things. One of the things we did was to increase visibility of Abbey, and we did that a lot through social media engagement and the likes of them. We also pushed that mindset within the organization, both from top management, even at board level, to ensure that support across board, to just go out there and bring in those customers. And of course, our rates are also very fantastic in terms of comparison with other banks. So those are pretty much high level strategy that we deployed.
Okay, so what other planned customer acquisition strategies do you have in terms of maybe leveraging financial technology, and are you looking also to expand your branch network, or what is in play for the bank?
Okay, so yes, I think prior to now, in the past, people believe brick and mortar was the way to go, and of course that probably influenced the former Abbey to have about 10 branches. But I mean, based on reality, we know that life is moved beyond that. We're more looking into technology and leveraging technology to drive our performance. And within the next 1 month, we'll be deploying a lot of our e-channels. So the expectation is to drive engagement through the channel platform and drive business through that route. So brick and mortar is really not the way to go. It's more of leveraging technology. So we are prepared for it.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So what is the Abbey Mortgage Bank culture?
I think simply put, I would say that we're building a business or a culture where we're very agile and being able to adapt to new changes. That will be the culture that I would say we're pushing forward.
Okay, so what drives Abbey Mortgage Bank as an organization?
Generally performance. We're a performance-driven organization, especially at the top management level. We believe we can do it. The can-do spirit is there. So we look at the market, set our targets, and we continue to push. So that's our drive.
Thank you so much for taking time to have this quick chat with us.
Thank you for having me.
There you have it, guys. Abbey Mortgage Bank, making homes happen. I'm Adetayo Ajeshola. See you on the next episode of the Nairametrics Executive Couch.